Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going over these 7 books that I read in March. I am so excited to talk to you about them. I will say though, as I am putting my graphic on the screen right here, which I've been forgetting to put my stats, so I'm sorry. I remembered this month though, which is exciting. It does say that I only read 6 books, which is accurate. Technically, I finished this first book that I'm going to show you on the last day of February, but because I had already filmed my what I read in February, I'm just going to be including it in the what I read in March so I can give you a wrap up because it's not included in any reading vlogs or anything like that. But I did read 6 books in the month of March, a total of 2,201 pages, which is pretty good for me, and my average rating is a 4.13, which is really good to be quite honest. And then my top 3 genres were horror, science fiction, and dystopian, which my favorite genres, so that doesn't shock me in any way, shape, or form. So the first book I'm here to talk to you about is The Night Guest. This is a translated short horror novella. This was translated from, I believe, an Icelandic author, and it's translated by Mary Robinette Kowal. This is the Icelandic author right here. I was really excited to read this one. I wasn't necessarily in a slump, but I had been reading so many long books back to back to back that I really wanted to consume a quick, short thriller horror book to kind of get me back and excited into reading, and this did just the trick. I did though give this like a low 3-star rating because I didn't love the ending too much. I definitely feel like if you are interested in this book, I highly suggest that you can absolutely read this in one go. I think it's like a little bit less than 200 pages, but some of the chapters are just like a sentence each, so it goes very, very quickly. In this book, we are following this woman who goes to the doctor because she's constantly exhausted. She's like beyond tired, not just like your normal average everyday, like, oh, I'm tired, but like every day she wakes up and her body is heavy and she feels like she just is so tired. So she goes to the doctor completely writes her off, basically is saying it's because she's a woman and her hormones and menopause or what have you that she is so tired, and she's like, there's absolutely no way. So she buys a Garmin watch to wear in her sleep to kind of track her sleep and see maybe if she's just not hitting REM or if she's just restless all night, whatever. And she finds that she's walking like 40,000 steps at night, and she's like, all right, what's going on? Eventually she ends up getting a camera, recording what's happening, and a lot of things ensue. I will say, trigger warning for light animal cruelty. There is animal cruelty, but it's talked about very briefly in the book, but it's really interesting. It was a fun read. I thought it was really fast-paced and fun to read about, and I loved the entire the entire buildup of this was so good, and then the end was just way too ambiguous for me. I needed like a clear-cut ending because I loved where we were going, but then we didn't just quite get there. We just kind of like stopped and we didn't finish our thought. So I did give this 3 stars because of that, but I do think if you're looking for a quick, short thriller horror novella, something just to like read in between maybe your longer fantasies or whatever, this is a fun one, and I would definitely suggest giving it a try. Plus, like the pink cover, I love like a pink horror. I'm kind of obsessed with it. Oh, next we have a book that I did do a reading vlog featuring, so I will put that up there as well as down below. It is me reading books that I think I will give 5 stars, and spoiler alert, it went so well. But I read From Below by Darcy Coates, and yes, I did give this 5 stars. I was so excited. Last year in January, I read Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which is underwater horror, mermaid horror, and I was absolutely in love with it. It was the first like underwater horror book I had ever read, and I want to read more, and there's not a lot out there. But I saw From Below at Barnes & Noble one day and was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try. I knew Darcy Coates was a like well-known horror author I had never read from before. I wanted to read it, and it is longer, just like Into the Drowning Deep. It is a long horror, and I thought going into this that maybe I didn't like slow burn horror. I didn't like slow building the suspense, little things happening here and there horror. But I guess I do, because I really loved this. So in this, we're following a couple different perspectives, but mostly we're following from Cove, who is a documentary, I guess I would say like she's in charge of the documentary, but she makes them. And the SS Arcadia is a ship that mysteriously sunk like 100 or so years ago. The last thing that came out was like a distress call being like they're in the walls, which is like really spooky, and nobody's been able to find this ship. But Cove and her documentary crew find the ship, and she is tasked to film kind of a documentary about what it looks like now, and I'm sure they would do filler or whatever. And they do a few dives down into the SS Arcadia, and it is so eerie, so spooky. I loved this so much. So you get from Cove's perspective, and you get a couple other perspectives of a few other people on the dive team, but it's not hard to distinguish them. And then you do also get perspective from someone who was on the SS Arcadia as it was sinking, and it's like 5 days before the SS Arcadia sank, 4 days before, and you can see everything that's happening in, I guess, real time. And I loved this. This was so slow burn horror. I love the underwater aspect, and I think that's why I also like space horror too, because I feel like you're almost trapped in a sense. Like, you are with scary stuff, and there's just no way out. Like, you can't just leave. Like, it's not like a haunted house where you could just leave. Like, you are in there, you cannot move. And I loved it so much. It was very creepy. There was a ton of little like creepy elements that I really enjoyed. I absolutely adored this. If you've ever seen the movie Ghost Ship, I think this reminds me an absolute ton of that. It was just so good, and now I want to pick up more Darcy Coates, because I was reading reviews and a lot of people say like her horror is generally the same book to book, and I liked it. I vibed with it. I want to read more. 5 stars. Next, I read a book I've been interested in for quite a long time, and I figured it's short, let's give it a try. It's I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, and this is on Netflix. I'll talk about that in a second. It's a quick, short horror. It kind of reminds me of The Night Guest in the sense that some of the chapters are shorter, but I really liked this, and I'm interested to watch the Netflix show. I gave it 3 stars, and I gave it like a high 3-star because I enjoyed it, but the whole time I was reading it, I don't know, I wasn't getting like a 5-star feeling. So in this, we are following a woman who I believe is unnamed. I don't even think I remember her name at all, nor is her name in the synopsis at all. But the setting is just one night. We're following her and her boyfriend as they are driving to his parents' house to have dinner with his parents. And that's the entire plot. And the entire time, she's just thinking over and over, I'm thinking of ending things. Like, I'm thinking of ending things. Things are weird. And it's, again, kind of slow burn for such a short book. Like, creepy things are happening one after the other until it just completely goes, like, in my head, I wrote this on my Goodreads review, A24 style. Like, it gets wild at the end, and I liked the ending. This was one of those books like We Used to Live Here. Immediately after I finished it, I had to go on Reddit and kind of see what the ending meant to the book, I guess, and to other people. And once I like grasped the concept, I think this would be a great book to read twice. Like, read once through, read the ending and be like, oh, wait a second, and then go back and read it again to kind of see it from that perspective. I did enjoy it. I did give it 3 stars. And I think there's a few other Ian Reid books that I want to read as well. But I did see, speaking of Netflix, that the Netflix movie is not, or is it a show? I'm not too sure. Is not at all like what the book was, which kind of makes me sad because I feel like the book was crazy. Like I said, if I think A24 took this and ran with it, it would be really, really good. So I did read I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This is a book, like I said, that's been on my radar for years, and I finally saw it at Half Price Books and was like, I need to have this. And I'm glad I finally got to it. Next, I am continuing my unofficial, well, I guess official, but unofficial reread with my channel besties of The Hunger Games. And this month I reread Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. I remember reading this one as a kid, and this one was my favorite. And I think it's because the games in this one are so cool. Like, in the first one she's in the woods, but this one is like, it's set up so much different. So if you're unaware of Catching Fire, it is the 2nd book in the Hunger Games trilogy. Of course I gave this one 5 stars. It is my favorite so far of the trilogy, or of the series that I've read. I haven't read the last 2, so I'm excited for that. This one's so fun. So in this one, we're at the 75th Hunger Games, the year after the 74th, where things went a little crazy, and every 25 years the Capitol does a quarter quell, which is where the Hunger Games are a little bit different. They make them a little bit crazier, a little bit wild. For example, Sunrise on the Reaping, the newest book that just came out, is the 50th Hunger Games. This is the 75th. For this one, they're reaping tributes from people that have already won in the past, which is crazy to think. Like, you've already made it through, you've already survived the craziest thing, and now you have to go back. Like, you have to go back in. So we're following that. We're following as the rebellion is picking up in Panem, and it's just such a good read. If you've never read the Hunger Games trilogy, I just think you should, and I'm so excited to have finished this one. Again, I gave it 5 stars. I will say though, I did read when I was a kid initially the trilogy. I remember like bits and pieces of Mockingjay. I have like really no recollection of it. I don't even remember how the book ends. So I'm super excited to get to Mockingjay this month in April. But again, Catching Fire, I'm just so happy I'm rereading this series. And then the last 3 books I have to show you are coming in a reading vlog soon, so definitely be on the lookout for those. So I'll just give you kind of generic quick run-throughs of them, but be excited for a reading vlog coming soon. So up next I read The Haar by David Sodergren. I think, is this considered I think this is considered, or at least David Sodergren is considered like an actual true scary horror author. And this is just a quick little short, I would say novella, 200 pages about The Haar. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it, but I don't know if this is my type of horror. To me, it was scary. There's a lot of body horror, but it almost felt like a romance. And the synopsis of this is we are following this woman named Muriel who lives in this old Scottish town. Scottish, right? Yeah. Scottish, like, fishing village. Old town, and they are being run out one by one by this American man who wants to build a golf course in this town. And so all of her neighbors are moving because they're getting paid off to move, but she's not moving. She's staying here. This is her house. This is her husband built this house. She is in this house. And so one day she's walking out in the ocean, and the Haar comes, and the Haar is like a mist over the ocean, and it brings with it a creature where things just start happening. And like I said, to me, yes, there is a ton of body horror. To me, the body horror in this book was kind of funny. There was like this one scene that was just hilarious, but it almost felt like a gross, creepy romance. And I don't know if that's how I'm gonna pitch it to you, that's how I'm gonna pitch it to you. But I do want to read more from David Sodergren. There's a few others that I'm interested in, and I liked it. It was quick, short, easy. I gave it 4 stars. Next up, a book I have been dying to read for years now, and I finally picked up, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. First and foremost, I love this cover. I love this spine. It looks so good on the bookshelf. I gave it 4 stars. It was so good. If you don't know what Magnolia Parks is, are you even watching BookTube? I'm confused. So Magnolia Parks is about a girl, well, she's a woman, named Magnolia Parks, and she's this like London socialite. She's wealthy, she goes to all these parties, and she's just doing her thing. Think Gossip Girl. And her ex BJ are the most toxic couple on the planet. They broke up because he cheated on her, but yet they still spend just about every waking moment together, and they're constantly trying to get back at each other. So he sleeps around, she's like a relationship gal, so she's always in like a relationship, and they're always doing these things to make each other jealous, but at the end of the day, you know, they're supposed to be together. Like, they are meant to be together. And so we're kind of following this toxic relationship. And if you've ever read the Click books as a kid, it reminds me of that with like Gossip Girl. It's so toxic, but also so intriguing, and it reads so quickly. Like, this is a pretty thick romance. It reads so fast. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. I'm so excited to read Daisy Hates and to continue this series. If you have had this on your TBR for a while and you're contemplating picking it up, just read it. It's a quick read. It's fun. And then last but not least, I finished this book last night. I raced to finish it because I wanted to make sure I finished it before the end of March, but that is The World Gives Way by Marissa Levian. I was so excited to read this one. This one, well, to be fair, I think a few of these were on my 25 for 2025, but this is a book I've had for a while that I have just been kind of putting off reading, and I don't know why, because I was so excited when I first bought it, and it is a sci-fi book, which I don't normally pick up sci-fi. And again, I gave this one 4 stars. So in this, we're following Mira. I think it's Mira. I keep saying either Mira or Myra, and she is a contract worker. She lives on this ship. Now, it's not a ship. To me, it's like a massive ship. We're set in the far, far future. Okay, this is sci-fi, this is dystopian, where the earth has crumbled and all of the like rich and wealthy got on this massive ship because it's like a bunch of cities and like everything on this ship. And there's also people that are there as contract workers. So she's been there all her life. This ship has been out in space for hundreds of years. At this point, they're heading somewhere for like a new life, but it's been in space for hundreds of years. So she's a contract worker. She is working for this really wealthy family called the Carlyles. It's a mom and dad and a daughter, a young baby daughter. And one day she wakes up and the mom and the dad are telling her that there's this massive secret and they are unaliving themselves because of it, and they are leaving her their baby daughter. So she takes the daughter and she runs because she thinks that security is going to assume she killed them, and we are traveling through these different towns in this ship while she carries the burden of this like really heavy secret, and we're following from her perspective, and we're also following from the detective's perspective who is following her. And I really liked this. I would say the first like 60 to 70% of this was so good. It was very much so a cat and mouse game. We're following her like always one step ahead of this detective. We're seeing all these different cities inside this ship. They're all so interesting. Like there's an underwater city, which is crazy, and I really enjoyed it. And then it came to a point where it was just kind of, it felt like it was going up, and then it just kind of plateaued. It just, there was nothing quite, I wasn't vibing with what was happening. And then the very end was really sweet, but I just felt like it was so exciting and fun, and then it just, like, not fun, I would say fun's not the correct word, but it was so exciting to follow and interesting, and then it just kind of plateaued. That's the best way I can describe it. And that's unfortunate because I was so excited for this one, but I am still giving it 4 stars because that first 70% was amazing, and the end was really good and like really sweet as well, and kind of almost wholesome. I still recommend it. I do think if you haven't read any sci-fi, this would be a great one to start with because the like sci-fi elements aren't crazy. They're really easy to understand, and I feel like they were almost on the back burner compared to this story. So I think this would be a good one to start with. But yeah, it just didn't live up to the 5-star expectation I had for it, but it was definitely a 4-star. And those are the 6 + 1, 7 books that I read in the month of March. I had a really good reading month. As you saw, my average rating was a 4.13, which is really good for an average, and I'm really hoping that April lives up to that as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you've read any of these, let me know. If there's any you're interested in now, let me know. I'm hoping I sold you on a couple of these because a lot of these were really good. And subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in my next one.